Hey Alakazam shopper, this is Andy Nyman, just saying hello and letting you know that on Sunday, November the 3rd, it is the 4th annual London Magic Convention. It's happening at the Lyric Theatre Hammersmith, which is a fantastic space. This year, as always, we have 3 amazing lectures. We have Stephen Long, who is Derren Brown's latest writer. He's brilliant, tipping some new mentalism. We have gentleman juggler Matt Ricardo giving his first ever lecture. The stuff he does is truly breathtaking. And then we have underground magic legend from the USA, Wayne Houchin, giving his first lecture in a decade. He's going to be tipping some of his old tricks plus some of his new stuff as well, which promises to be something not to miss. We then have the hilarious £4 Gala show. We have the show in the evening, which Matt Ricardo is doing. We have the London Close-Up Magic Championship and the Patrick Page Award for Excellence in Magic. Car going by. This year we are giving that award to, well, you'll have to be there to find out. Go to londonmagicconvention.co.uk to buy tickets. Thanks for being an Alakazam shopper, and hopefully we will see you there for a day filled with magic.
Hi guys, welcome to tonight's live launch. It's happening on a Sunday, which is great for us because hopefully this is a time where you've been able to chill out all day and you're basically in the mood for a bit of magic and a Q&A, because tonight I'm joined by my very good friend Mark Spellman, but we're going to get onto that in a moment. The video you just saw was the fantastic Andy Nyman, and if you are about the day of the convention, make sure you go along. I've been for the last few years and it is a brilliant convention, so go grab yourself a ticket. But tonight is about my best bud, Mark Spellman. So let me tell you how tonight works, actually, before we introduce him. Obviously, you can ask any questions you want on the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat, and we will bring them up and ask Mark, and he can answer them for you. But at around about 8:15, we are going to be dropping the trailer to this brand new effect of Mark Spellman's, or his brand new release, should I say. And then we're going to talk about the effect in more detail after the trailer. So if you've got any questions, shoot them over. But for to get us started, let's introduce the man of the evening, along with his very good friend and my very good friend, Mr. Colin Klaus. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Spellman.
Hey! Hi, you guys. Nice to be here. Thank you for hosting this Peter Nardi on a Sunday. I know it's a day of worship for you, so
it is.
Thank you so much. I've taken you away from your prayers and brought you into work. So I appreciate that. Lots of love to everybody watching, and thank you, Colin, for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Love you, man. Love you so much.
So, Marcus.
Yes, sir.
Firstly, how are you? What have you been up to since BGT? What has life been treating you to?
Well, we had a worldwide pandemic, which was a little bit of a problem.
Killed everything.
It was a little bit. I don't know. Do you not remember that, Pete?
Well, like I do, because we started.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Remember that? No. So obviously BGT. Oddly, I did BGT as me and as Magician X, and then I ended up doing America's Got Talent with the wonderful Shin Lim, which was amazing. And for those of you that have never met Shin or know of Shin, his professionalism in the moment that I was with him on AGT was unparalleled. Such an incredible professional, really, really amazing performer, and it was great to kind of incorporate him with the Magician X vibe as well, and it was a great moment, something I'm very proud of. And then what happened was that was when the pandemic hit, but we still managed to do a BGT special, a Christmas special, and it was a challenge because a lot of restrictions, not getting audience members up, and there was no audience. It was David, Amanda, Alicia, and not Simon actually, because he'd hurt his back. Do you remember that when he done his back in? So it was Ashley, Ashley Banjo from Diversity, one of my favourite BGT winners of all time. So we did that special, and Colin, you helped out on that, and that was a real challenge because the restrictions were changing like minute by minute. I was getting phone calls from production. No, you can't ask Ad and Deck to do this. You can't do this, can't do that. Then after that, we ended up doing the Ultimate Magician, which was another special.
Which one had my namesake in it? You called one of the characters Nardi. Didn't you?
That was the
one.
that was the COVID Christmas
The Christmas
special,
one.
if you want to call it the COVID Christmas special. But that's where it was. Actually, it was both of you because it was.
Colin Nardi.
Well,
Colin
no,
Nardi.
because Colin's real first name. Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Christian is his first name, really. But so it was Christian Nardi.
Yeah.
So it was a nod to my two guys in Magic in that moment. So go back and watch it. It's on YouTube somewhere. Find it, Christmas special, and you'll see it's Christian Nardi is the person apparently that we call. And then we had the Ultimate Magician, which was really good fun. And I managed to get Isabella on stage with me again for the first time since, you know, the video with her saying the word hat. So that was incredible. And then I did. I was asked to do Spain's Got Talent, which was was it All Stars or something? So it was like people from that have done well on the Got Talent shows all together on this show. And I was really in two minds about doing it. But Risto, R-I-S-T-O, he's like the Simon Cowell of the Spanish version of the show, but he's way worse. He's like Simon Cowell in a bad mood times 10. And I really wanted to do it for the challenge to see, can I get past Risto? Can I wow him? And I did. So check it out.
I was really impressed with that performance.
Yeah,
I loved
it was really stripped back. It was
a bit more magic-y as well.
Do you know what it was? With that show, if you watch any of Spain's Got Talent, and I urge you to, there's so much magic on that show. But they love, obviously, Juan Tamariz, some of the greatest card magicians are from Spain. So there's a lot of card magic on there, but they love it. And where you get on the British version and the American version, you pull out a deck of cards and it's a bit like, oh, right, okay, card trick. Whereas in Spain, it's like, bring it on. They love it. So I did very much a card routine that I've done for years and years and years. But yeah, check it out. It's on YouTube and stuff. So done that, and then corporate work, that kind of thing. Obviously, I would say this to anybody that is thinking of doing Britain's Got Talent. People always ask me, is it worth it? Was it worth it? And 110%. Life is about experiences, taking chances, and just living in the moment. And of course, there's a risk. You know, it could go wrong. It might not play well. All these different things. But in all honesty, having been on Britain's Got Talent, you know, like now I get to perform at some amazing corporate events. I do some cruise ships, not loads of them, but I do some, a select few, which I really love because you're working in beautiful theatres on these ships, and I can write shows specifically for the ships that I'm on. Which is amazing. So that's what I've been doing. Colin, what have you been doing?
My life boring. I can't.
No, it's not. What are we talking about? Just for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, Colin and his good friend Kev G are like masters of the Rubik's Cube. I'm talking like Rubik's Cube magic with real Rubik's Cubes. And that's, you know, obviously
the proper nerdy stuff.
Honestly,
well, no,
it is amazing. Some of what you create is genuinely amazing. I resort to sneaky stuff.
I will say, anyone that is a member of Alakazam Unlimited as well, we've just started a new course on Rubik's Cube Magic with Colin Klaus. So
it's just, that's me teaching the Rubik's Cube, and it's aimed at magicians to get them sort of solving the cube quicker, faster.
Can I just say one thing? What was your inspiration for actually learning the Rubik's Cube in the first place? Who inspired you to maybe... Oh, sorry, I forgot. That was me. That was me. All me. No, honestly.
No, what it was is, I think it's either 2017 or 2018, we watched Gregory Wilson perform
at the Blackpool, Blackpool Magic Convention.
And I think we were both really inspired by that moment of that. And I think you started it first, and then you were going on about it. I went, God, I've got to learn this.
And then one of the things about Colin that is really interesting, and I really admire, and that is that if you say to Colin, like, why don't you dabble in the Rubik's Cube stuff? He will go, or it's like diving in at the deep end, and he doesn't come up for air for 6 months, and then he comes back and he's just learnt all this stuff. Yes, I remember Rubicon was amazing with Greg Wilson.
That's it.
But interesting note, Henry Harrius, obviously one of the best Rubik's Cube producers with the gimmick stuff, which is amazing, and I use lots of it. But when Henry actually produced Venom, the Venom cubes, I sent him a message with some of my original drawings, and because of the way that you match up a Rubik's Cube, I'd actually sent this to Peter Nardi and said, this would be a really interesting project. Yeah. Never got round to it, and then, but Henry in a way, but I'm glad because Henry did the hard work. And then I was able to go, I'll have one of those.
There's a lot more to it, isn't it? Once you start, you think, oh yes, the idea.
Oh, totally.
Of
you got to have
the method.
You got to have stronger things and weaker things, and without going into methods. But it's. So Colin's got this new course about Rubik's cubes and stuff, and it's so popular, Rubik's Cube Magic. But if you are able to pick up a cube, I can solve a cube. I don't know, minute. I think 30 is my fastest, which isn't too bad. I can kind of blag my way through it and stuff. Colin what's your fastest?
24 seconds, but my average is still around about 30 to 40 seconds. So we specialise in Rubik's Cubes, and if you want to learn Rubik's Cube Magic, Kev G, who's an amazing Rubik's Cube magician, me and him got together and we started this project called the Refractor Project. And originally we were only going to do 1 volume, which turned into 2, 3, 4, and eventually 6 volumes. And now we started a new series called the Rotator series, which is still all about just Rubik's Cube Magic with ordinary cubes. And we've now got somebody else involved, and I can't believe that we're still doing it and still coming up with more stuff.
He phones me up and we do FaceTime calls, and he goes, Mark, get a cube, put it in this algorithm. And I'm looking at it going, how did you even think of this? It's unbelievable. So
I just want to say as well, tonight's effect is not a cube effect.
So sorry. No, I'm just doing a bit of friendly promotion from my buddy.
There's a question that's come in, Mark. So in 3 minutes we're going to play the trailer, then we're going to come back and speak more about the project.
If I could perform magic for anyone in history, who would it be and why?
Good question.
Oh man, that's such a good question. Anyone in history? Oh, I know the answer. And this answer is not going to mean anything. It's not anyone famous. If I could have performed magic for anyone right now, it would be my godfather. He passed away in 1993, and he was the reason that I actually embarked on a professional career in magic, because none of my family, no one's in show business, but it was my godfather who just watched me do magic, a couple of simple things, and he said, what's your passion? And I said, I love magic, but I was always good at art and design. But he said, he goes, just try it, just go for it. And I did, but he never got to see me do the sort of things that I can do now. So if I could perform magic for anyone from any time in the world, of all the famous people, it would be my godfather, because he never got to see me.
Yeah, great answer. There's another question coming that says, Mark, what's your next big thing? Now, there's a few projects that are in the works, which I think are going to be hitting in 2025.
I think there might be late 2024 maybe. So yes, there are a number of things. Obviously there's a thing called the Gallery, which I released. That's not today, but there was a thing that I released called the Gallery back in late 2017, early 2018, which was a photographic deck. And obviously there's lots of photographic decks out now, but the Gallery 2 is on steroids. It's
really exciting.
It is something that I've worked a lot on. I've designed the whole thing from the ground up. So it's very similar in a way, in some aspects, to the Gallery. But I can't remember, Peter, how many tricks are on the Gallery, but I'm sure there's 35 or 40 tricks on the Gallery.
That we kept adding to as well.
It was ongoing and
a good mix.
Well. And all of those original effects that you could perform back then will be available for the Gallery 2 plus more. So the Gallery, there's a couple of other projects I can't really go into right now because we don't actually even have proper names for them yet. But it's stuff from my repertoire that I've done for 20
It's years. All mentalism?
All mentalism, 20 years. And there is a big project I'm working on at the moment that's not product related, but I don't even know if it's going to happen. If it does, it'd be amazing, but it's not in the magic field. It's more of a project that people might see if it comes off. God, that was covert, wasn't it? That was really cagey.
Right, ambiguous.
Politician answer.
We are coming up to trailer time, and I just want to say that the effect that is coming out tonight is something that, especially in the performing world, you're really known for. It's something that I think I had a passion for years ago, but I think you taught me how to do it, because I didn't know how to do it, what was going on, because you just cannot find any material on it. And if you want to know how far back this goes with my involvement, just have a look at this. Because
wow,
that is me looking about 6 times the size of little Mark.
I know, look at me. I can't believe that T-shirt looks like...
And
Pete, you look like you're out of the 70s.
Well, this is after I had locked him in a cupboard with no food.
Yeah, I look like I need food.
I've got a bag of crisps there, and I am saying, if you want to eat...
Yeah, can I just say as well that I was not on drugs at the time. I've not been on drugs. I don't condone any drug usage. But I just look like I need a good sandwich.
Yeah, I think that's a bag of crisps or Skittles in front of you.
Yeah, no, that,
They look really tasty, don't they?
Yeah.
Spill the beans, Spellman.
Yeah, so that was actually 2004. So that was over 20 years ago now, and that was a still from my DVD set, and I've been before the effect that we're going to talk about today. And the trailer we're about to watch in a moment is something that I've done for over 25 years. And it's odd in a way, because when people have seen me on Britain's Got Talent, as obviously in 2018 as myself with the story about my family, and then as Magician X, if you've only ever seen that, you might not have ever heard about me doing this. But a lot of people in the magic world know that I've done this trick, this effect, this demonstration. It's not actually a trick. This demonstration for over 25 years. So yeah, it's something that I've done. I would kind of say probably more than most.
Do you still perform it?
I do, very select, because of now I'm Magician X or I am Mark Spellman, and it's
hard to do it.
It's a different sort of a vibe, but every once in a while it still comes out. But it's because of the opportunities that this has given me before BGT, and performing this on many celebrities way before Britain's Got Talent. People always remembered me.
And this was the trick. You said it earlier. This was the trick that got you around the world.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This got me on television in the United Kingdom. In 2008, I was on national television. Many of you wouldn't have seen it. It was back before things really went viral. And then I was on international television, on Indonesian television, to 16 million people live. And this was 2000, I think this was 2010 when I was on Indonesian television. So again, that's 14 years ago, way before BGT.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's at that time.
Let's do it.
Shall we have a look at the trailer? Mark, do you want to introduce it for us?
So I'm really, I want to point out a couple of things before we play the trailer, and that is that the origins of this effect are not mine. I stand on the shoulders of giants. The reason for this project for me has been the amount of people that have seen me do this over the years and have always asked, will you ever sort of give the true inside information on this? And it is an effect, a demonstration. It's not an illusion, it's not a trick, it's a demonstration that people like Darren Brown have performed, obviously one of the best performers in the world. And but it's really served me well. I've done it for years and years and years. And so let's watch the trailer.
Here we go.
Hi, my name is Mark Spellman. Long before my performances on Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent, in actual fact, over 10 years prior to those performances,
I was invited to appear on national and international television with one very special demonstration. This one effect has literally taken me around the world, and that one effect is this. Can you describe what is in that glass?
There are some long nails.
Have a look at these. Obviously, by the nature of what I do, people are very suspicious of me. Check them out, make sure they're real. Pretty good?
They're real.
Nice,
I've done this before.
Check it out. You'll see that it's a nail, yes? What I want you to do is take a look at that one for me. Go down there and get the nails examined for me, if you would, please. Three nails in your hands, yes?
Yeah.
You're happy that those nails are real?
Yeah, they look like pretty, yeah.
Check them out, make sure they're real.
Yes.
A nail.
I was watching it. Okay,
Yeah.
a nail.
Right.
You're not going to stick it through anything,
No,
are you?
not through
All
you.
right. Oh,
Not
no,
through you.
what, you're going to do something?
I want you to take any one of the three nails out of the glass for me. Hand me any one of those nails. Watch, here's the idea. Look, they really are solid though, yeah?
Yeah.
Watch carefully. This is a bit weird. All right, here we go.
No! Stop! Ah!
See, it goes inside the face, all right? Hand me the other one, hand me the other one. All right?
Dirty.
So it goes inside the face. Last one, Huey. That was going in one side there, look.
What are you doing?
Don't worry,
You
don't worry.
complete freak!
All right, now I'll be really honest with you. This is the one that hurts. You're gonna feel this inside my head. You're gonna hold the clean end. You're gonna feel this. Hold still. You're holding the camera. Hold your hand out like this. And
You are kidding me.
Go,
no,
go,
you're
go,
kidding
go.
me. I'm not going to
Sit.
touch
Go,
it.
go. You're gonna feel this, right? You hold the clean end though.
Okay. All right,
Good
man.
man. Just to feel that inside my head. You can feel that, yes?
That's pretty in there.
Hold still. Clean side, but watch. Just feel it. Yeah, you got it?
You're...
Hold on to it. Feel it.
No!
Oh, feels good. Right, you ready? Now you're actually going to feel this inside my head. If I shake it like that, you can feel that inside my head, yes?
Oh,
You can feel
God,
that in there,
yeah, that's in there, man.
All right,
Damn.
Ready? Feel it.
I cannot.
Feel that inside my head, yes? Hold still.
No!
Oh, jeez, dude.
You're disgusting.
There can be no doubt the human blockhead created by Melvin Burkhart is one of the most shocking demonstrations you can perform, but equally one of the most dangerous. Despite the obvious dangerous aspects of performing the human blockhead, there is very little instruction or literature to date that explains how to perform it safely, when to perform it, and more importantly, when not to perform it. This download will explain in minute detail every single element about performing the human blockhead. I know the where, the why, and the when about performing the human blockhead. And on this download, I will share everything with you. Welcome to Block.
That's not magic, that's madness.
So there we have it, Block. The full tutorial on Blockhead.
Yes, so Melvin Burkhart, obviously he pioneered, he was the creator. And just to give the viewers a little bit of background, Melvin Burkhart was a sideshow performer. So he would do things like contortionism. He was known as the man with no stomach. He could retract his stomach so far in it looked like he had no stomach. And he also did this thing, he could contort his face, so one half of his face, almost like Batman. Was it Two-Face in Batman with one half of the face? And so he could smile and on one side. It was really an odd thing. But he was also a boxer. And obviously, for those that know me, I'm a massive boxing fan. Let's not talk about last night with Anthony Joshua. But he had 6 fights, lost all of them, and his nose got pulverized. And it was only when the nurse was kind of he had sort of damaged cartilage and stuff, and they had all these tools in his nose, and that is when he thought to himself, God, maybe there's something to be done with that. And then I guess got a nail, bless him, and just put this nail in his head, and then realised he could do this human blockhead thing. And the history of it with me was I used to work at a place called the House of Magic, Simon Drake's House of Magic in South London, an amazing venue, really good fun. And I used to do things like needle through arm, and it was kind of like a dark sort of magic place. So you could get away with performing this kind of stuff. So I used to do swallowing needles and the beam from the eye and that kind of thing. And it was a friend of mine at the time, David Cayley, said to me, he goes, Mark, he goes, you should definitely do the human blockhead. And I was like, what is this thing? I mean, I'm talking like mid-90s. 95, 96 sort of time period. And he said, I'm sure it's in Swami and Mantra. So I got this copy of Swami and Mantra from Tannen's Magic Shop in America. It was the last copy of this book, really rare. It's a real fun book to have because it's the only book that says you have to be over 21 years of age. On the back of it is a warning to own this book. And I thought, oh, brilliant, learn this blockhead. Like nail in the head sounds brilliant. And then flicking through the book, I got to this page with the human blockhead, and it had maybe a paragraph, and it said, take a nail, hold it horizontal, and carefully put it in your head. And that was it. And I was like, right. I was thinking maybe there's some sort of method here, and there wasn't. But having done it for as long as I've done it, and I really wanted to get, there was a piece of footage, and maybe we can add it later on, Peter, but I performed at the International Magic Convention, and I'm talking, this is like the very early 2000s, possibly 2001. No, actually, I think it was 99, might have been. And a very young Darren Brown was in the audience watching me do blockhead, which I did as part of my performance at the International Magic Convention. And obviously years later, Darren did the human blockhead in his Something Wicked This Way Comes. So it's a really powerful thing to do. But what I wanted to cover is 25 years of doing this in my career, when to do it, when not to do it, how to do it safely, how I perform it now as opposed to how I performed it, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And for those of you that got my DVDs, there is a performance only of me performing the human blockhead, and that is 20 years ago on the DVDs. But yeah, this is 90 minutes, an hour and a half, with a full interview where I taught Colin how to do the human blockhead about 15 years ago. And like right through everything. I mean, how to do it safely, because we used to do close-up gigs together, and it works in some, I mean, believe it or not, you can perform this in close-up mix and mingle, and I talk about how and where and how to do this safely. You can perform it in nightclubs if you've got residencies, that kind of thing, but also in parlour and on stage. And there's a performance of me doing it on Indonesian television, as I say, to 16 million people. And they flew me to Jakarta to do this because I could do the human blockhead. And the little clip, there's a small clip there that you see where I've got multiple nails, and because you can do it with one nail, but I talk on the download about how to do it with, I mean, I've actually done it with 4 nails in the right side, which is a real strong image. It's something they never forget. But I talk about how to do this. Obviously there's the biological sort of physicality of performing the human blockhead, but it's how and when to do this safely. But believe me, I've done this for celebrities like Davina McCall, Eric Clapton's pulled a nail out my nose. The late George Michael pulled nails out of my face at his birthday party in the very early 2000s as well. So it's something that people do not forget you.
It's really good. You taught me to do it, and that must have been sort of 18 years ago, something like that. And I remember always being fascinated by this effect. And there was an advert in Magic magazine, and I remember it was Viking Magic, and they were advertising a telescopic nail. They didn't have them in stock, it was coming soon. And I read it, and in my mind, I just thought, well, that's how this effect is done. You can never imagine how it's really done, because you feel there has to be a method. It looks impossible. And
that's part of the reason, sorry to interrupt you, but basically, if you look at it, you'll see that I do it with a glass. And that's because at the end I want all the nails pulled out and they just go in the glass, and it's little things like the sound of nails going into a glass tells you they're metal, they're solid. But then at the end of the whole thing, as they pull out the last one and I hold the glass out and they drop it in the glass, I then either give it to them or I look at if I'm doing it for a corporate event and there's people in the front row, I'll sort of hand it and go souvenir. And that immediately says this. And what's lovely about Blockhead is throughout the process they're going, that's right, or that is the weirdest optical illusion, or you know, whatever they're thinking. But then at the end when they go, no, that was real, it's such a powerful moment. And genuinely, like it is, the key is about how and when to do it.
I have to say, actually, you the first time I saw you do it, it did blow me away. But having seen you do it loads, you're very good at building up the tension even before you actually do it, and once it's happening, and that ending, you've just got an ending, you know, where they're holding on to the nail. It's just, you know, it just builds to a lovely crescendo to the point where they're pulling it out, and I think that moment, so many little subtleties.
I think that moment when I get it, when I say to them, look, just shake it from, you'll feel it inside my head.
And then
you can just see their face, and the audience just go, that's in his head. And obviously, you know, doing it with the nails and the spoon, very aggressive and that kind of thing. But equally, I've done it like at times with the handle of a spoon, and just sort of done it almost as a throwaway thing where I say, do you want to see like I've literally finished the close-up set and I go, do you want to see one of the weirdest things you'll ever see? But it's not a trick. And they kind of look at you and go, yeah. And then I take the spoon and I go, look, this. And then I do that and I start, and then genuinely people take out their phones and go, oh, and want to take pictures. And I've also done it like with a straw, with a drinking straw. You know, I've done it with someone handed me a screwdriver. I mean, you know, obviously by the very nature of what you're doing, this is really dangerous. I mean, it is dangerous. And what I think is really beneficial about this particular download is the honesty. I tell stories. Colin, we do an interview together, and I said to Colin, go away and ask me questions as if you have no idea what Blockhead is, or is it an illusion, whatever. Just write down questions. So Colin wrote down these questions, and we booked a room in a local pub, and we sat down and we just did this interview where Colin asked me all the questions that I've ever been asked about Blockhead, and like what happens when it goes wrong, how has it gone wrong. And it's the honesty. You know, there are times when this has gone wrong, but how do I deal with it? And there's a story that I'm not going to tell you now. It is on the download, but it's a true story. I don't need to embellish anything on that download, but there's a true story about how literally I bled in front of an audience, but then had to twist the narrative and make them believe it was a trick. And it's just a really fun story. So, yeah, it's...
But the download itself, I mean, obviously, the thing is with Blockhead, it's one of those effects that is not going to be for everyone.
Sure.
Either you're that way inclined or you're not. But the actual download is there for educational purposes. I mean, there's never been a more in-depth look at this effect, the history of it, the stories behind it, how to do it. You'll never find this information.
It's always been, it's always been really sparse. And I think for something that is as strong as it is, I mean, it's a strong effect. I mean, I'm not being funny, but you could do...
I didn't think it was an effect for me. And then once I started doing it, the amount of attention you get whilst doing it, and the amount of times, because it's not a trick, you are really doing this, it has a power to it. And even though it's a mixture between real grossness, intrigue and disgust, isn't it? I suppose
it's that thing. Do you know what it reminds me of? When I used to perform it, it's that horror film moment where people are like this, but still watching. It's like they're trying to cover.
But you know what?
They don't want to watch, but they can't help.
I'll tell you one of my favourite presentations for the Blockhead is I say, look, I'll show you one of the best optical illusions you'll ever see. And I talk about it being an optical illusion. So then now when I start doing it, I'm saying it's not. It's obviously an optical illusion, and I literally, it's like almost like it's a sucker effect because it's real. And I start doing blockhead. I'm going. It looks really convincing, and they're looking at you going, yeah, that does look really convincing.
Yeah.
And then you do the whole thing, and they're kind of going, yeah, no, it's bloody real. And then at the end of it, you pull all the nails out, and they're going, so what's the trick? And you go, there is no trick.
Yeah.
And then at that point, they've watched it, and they're going, what?
Yeah.
You know,
it's the freakiest thing. I mean, Chris Harding said, was it Moz that used to hammer it in with his shoe? I used to hammer it in with my shoe.
yes, Ian Kendall used to hammer it in with his shoe as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I got it from Moz, but I used to do it in close up, just slip my shoe off and bang it. You got a nice sound. And
I explain why I do it with a spoon, because obviously I used to do, like, I still do a lot of metal bending, but I used to do a lot of metal bending, so I always had spoons and forks and things on me. So for me, rather than walking around with a hammer, but also with the spoon, it really enables you to go full on, like really, really go for it. Whereas I've seen some people do it with a hammer, and it's almost a little bit tentative. They kind of very cautiously doing it, which kind of contradicts the idea of using a hammer. So for me, it's almost like just getting the spoon out and using the spoon. It's almost like I find something to hammer it in. And it's honestly, it's one of those things where you could do 7 effects and then do this. And when they talk about you after, they go, did you see the guy with the nails? It's like, it's one of those things.
Did you realise, because you do it, I mean, I never used to do it with one big one, but you do it with, you said sometimes
I
4,
do,
but 3
normally three on the right side, 1 on the left side. I have done 4 on the right side, but obviously you can opt to do 1 big nail. Now, Melvin Burkhart did it with a big nail, but with Melvin, he never kind of got it right up to the nose. No. It would always be out, but it looked dynamic. But I always thought to myself, it looked like it never. I always think you want it all the way in, kind of thing. So I opted, but also as well, I like the idea of doing it multiple times, because I think if you hammer a nail in your face and you do 1, it's fine. But I think then you do a second one, and you watch a bit closer, then a third one. And now they're watching, and they're getting, and it's like, you're kidding me. This is, what are you doing? This is unbelievable, But also as well, I think when you sort of, on stage, I mean, this on stage is just an incredible thing. I've done it so many times on stage, and it is a real effect, as an example, for Darren Brown to take the effect and then put it in his show Something Wicked, it tells you it's a real piece. It's a piece of theatre.
Yeah, it really is, and it's one of those things that you've been talking about doing for a long time. I've been trying to talk you into it purely because there isn't any instruction, no real instruction. I'm the same as you. I didn't pick up Swami Mantra. I had a copy, but I actually grabbed Jim Rowe's book, and it was stories about a sideshow, and it did say it was going to explain everything. But the way he explained everything is like, to eat glass, you've just got to sort of eat it.
Eat it.
If you want to do blockhead, take a nail and smash it into your nose. And I'm thinking, what? Hang on a minute. Whereas this, like I said, we put it up there for educational purposes because it is the most in-depth look at this effect, and there's very few people that do this effect. There's not a lot of people that do blockhead, but the people that do perform blockhead would never perform it. They wouldn't give it up. Because they know the reactions it gets, and it's not the type of thing you're going to do everywhere. You're not going to do it at kids.
Oh, it's a time and place. 100%.
But you do it, and it will be the standout piece. If you do decide to do an effect like this. But for me, I'm just thinking back to when I didn't know how to do it, and I would have given anything for a video like this just to have the knowledge of how this actually works and hear the stories behind it.
I sort of say this on the download that there's so much magic. I love magic, like every type of genre of magic I absolutely love. And even things like quick change. So at the moment on AGT there's an amazing quick change artist called Solange, and she's amazing. And I remember, like, oh God, 12, 13 years ago, just going, I really want to understand a bit more about quick change. Not that I'm never going to do it, but I just got books and everything I could find on quick change so that I could have an understanding of it, because I just found it a fascinating thing. Equally, back in the old days, Richard Griffin doing his dove magic. I remember getting the VHS videos and knowing I'm never going to have doves, I'm never going to do it, but I just wanted to know how it worked, and could I apply some of the principles in other forms of magic, especially sort of mentalism. Is there usage for these loads and ways of doing it? So for me, my philosophy is this: if this download helps one or two people do it safely and do it wisely and make a really informed decision, then it's worth the effort.
Learn how to build the routine, as I say, rather than just, because it's easy just to get a nail, whack it in, but to really build the suspense before and after. I think that's the important thing about this effect, anyway.
I used to use this as the very start of my stand-up mentalism, and I think this was years ago. I came up with a script, and I think I was speaking to you about it, Mark, back then. And basically my whole opening script was scientists believe that we only use 10% of our brain, whereas they believe people with telepathic powers have somehow managed to tap into different parts of, more parts of their brain, and they're using more. Now what I'm going to try and do tonight is to actually create a channel from the 10% to the, the larger percent of my brain. I can't remember my exact script now, but it was like, but I'm not going
I remember this.
Yeah, and I'm not going to create that channel metaphorically. I'm going to do it physically, using this 8-inch nail, it won't be inches. And then I would do it on stage, and that would be the moment. But I'd get someone up, and I'd ripped off your routine. I'd get them to hold it. I'd slam my nose back down on it, and everything else. But it was a great way for me to get in, because it was that shock moment right at the beginning where they're going, "What the hell is going to happen now?" And it made perfect sense. I can't remember the exact script. I've got to
do you know what? You've just reminded. So in London, you've got a place called the London Dungeon, which is a very famous tourist destination in London. And I remember I did a corporate event at the London Dungeon, and when I did this, I kind of had blockhead as a backup. So I always have it on standby. And if I feel that the audience is right for it, then I'll go, actually, you know what? I'm going to throw in some blockhead. And I remember this crowd, it was a corporate event, I'm on stage, and there's about, say, 60 people. And I remember it was a really tough gig. Walked out, the comedian that they had on before me, it was not going well. People were talking, it was one of those ones you kind of going, oh God, I want the ground to swallow me. I don't want to walk out and say, start being Mr. Mind Reader. And I remember walking out, and I started off, and I was doing something, I just said, I just need to warm up. And I used to sort of warm up with a magic square, just kind of like rapid fire, getting the numbers and stuff. And I remember doing the magic square and just not engage. They weren't engaging at all. They kept on talking, and I thought to myself, I've got another 20 minutes of this. And it was a tough gig. And I remember thinking to myself, blockhead. And I remember just going, I finished the magic square, and then I said, thank you so much for your help. Before you go, do you mind giving me a hand with something a little bit different? And then now I've got the glass, got the nails, and I started clinking the nails up against the glass, and it sounds like you're making a toast. When you tapping on the glass, can everyone be quiet? Right, okay. And so I'm clinking the nails up against the glass. I'm getting him to do it as well, clinking the nails up. And then I hammered the nails in my face. And when I tell you, it went from people chattering to then looking over and then going, sorry, 1 second, like that. And then literally everyone's chairs just turned. And then I did the whole blockhead thing. But because I hadn't really framed it, I hammered the nails in my face, done the whole, like I'm doing all this kind of, moving the head around, pulled one out, pulled the second one out, got him to hold the nail, pulled it out, dropped it into the glass, and I went, oh God, that's so much better. Right, anyway, and then just carried on doing mentalism. But now the audience were going, okay, this is something we need to watch. And that was it. They were like, for the next 15 minutes of my act, they watched you could have heard a pin drop, because I just needed to jolt them out of that kind of chatter. Well,
I think for anyone that's joined us a little bit late, we're going to play the trailer again. So this is an instant download. It runs for just over an hour, is it?
No, over 90 minutes.
Oh, over
it's
90
I think it's an
minutes.
hour and 35.
Cool.
And I should point out as well that the full download, you've got uncut performances of me doing this on national television, international television, the Indonesia footage, a little bit grainy back in the day and getting the downloads and all that kind of stuff together. But yeah, you see it in the real world for real people in a live environment. 16 million people on that television program live.
Yeah.
So thankfully it didn't go wrong.
You've got 3 or 4 performances.
There's 4. I think there's 4 on there. Yeah, there's 4 performances, but from beginning to end, introduction, how to do it, and 2 of them are close up. One of them's on a corporate stage, one of them's on a television stage, and the other 2 performances are up close, literally with a one-on-one with a person.
Well, you can see that in the trailer when you're doing the Brit Awards.
Yeah, yeah.
You're literally that far away from people, which is the way, you know, a lot of close-uppers do it. I used to in a walk-around situation.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's perfect. Right, anyway, let's take a look at the trailer. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Mark Spellman. Long before my performances on Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent, in actual fact over 10 years prior to those performances, I was invited to appear on national and international television with one very special demonstration. This one effect has literally taken me around the world, and that one effect is this. Can you describe what is in that glass?
There are some long nails.
Have a look at these. Obviously, by the nature of what I do, people are very suspicious of me. Check them out, make sure they're real. Pretty good?
They're real.
Nice,
I've done this before.
Check it out, you'll see that it's a nail, yes. What I want you to do is take a look at that one for me. Go down there and get the nails examined for me, if you would, please. 3 nails in your hands, yes?
Yeah.
You're happy that those nails are real?
Yeah, they look like pretty, yeah.
Check them out, make sure they're real.
Yes.
A nail.
I was watching, okay,
Yeah.
a nail?
Right.
You're not going to stick it through anything, are
No,
you?
not through you.
All right. Oh,
Not
no,
through you.
you're going to do something.
I want you to take any one of the 3 nails out of the glass for me. Hand me any one of those nails. Watch, here's the idea. Look, they really are solid though, yeah?
Yeah.
Watch carefully. It's a bit weird. All right, here we go.
Stop! Ah!
See, it goes inside the face, all right? Hand me the other one, hand me the other one. All right?
Dirty.
So it goes inside the face. Last one, Huey. That was going in one side there, look.
What are you doing?
Don't worry,
You
don't worry.
complete freak!
Whoa. All right, now I'll be really honest with you. This is the one that hurts. You're gonna feel this inside my head. You're gonna hold the clean end. You're gonna feel this. Hold still. You're holding the camera. Hold your hand out like this.
You are kidding me.
Go,
no, you're
go,
kidding me. I'm not going to
Sit.
touch it.
Go. You're gonna feel this, right? You hold the clean end though. Good man. Just to feel that inside my head. You can feel that, yes?
That's pretty in there.
Hold still. Clean side, but watch. Just feel it. Yeah, you got it? Hold on to it. Feel it.
No.
Oh, feels good. Right, you ready? Now you're actually going to feel this inside my head. If I shake it like that, you can feel that inside my head, yes?
Oh,
you can feel
God,
that in there,
yeah, that's in there, man.
Right,
Damn.
Ready? Feel it.
I cannot.
Feel that inside my head, yes? Hold still.
No.
Oh, jeez, dude.
You're disgusting.
There can be no doubt the human blockhead created by Melvin Burkhart is one of the most shocking demonstrations you can perform, but equally one of the most dangerous. Despite the obvious dangerous aspects of performing the human blockhead, there is very little instruction or literature to date that explains how to perform it safely, when to perform it, and more importantly, when not to perform it. This download will explain in minute detail every single element about performing the human blockhead. I know the where, the why, and the when about performing the human blockhead. And on this download, I will share everything with you. Welcome to Block.
That's not magic, that's madness.
Right, so thank you everyone that's already picked it up. That's great. You'll be able to start learning it right now in your Alakazam downloads section of your account. So, Mark, how often do you perform this now?
So back then, I would say prior to BGT, so 2018, I was doing it all the time. So it was always with me. And it was one of those things as well, and this is part of the thing that's on the download, is gauging when is the right time. And you'll be surprised, I did it at most events. Yeah. Now obviously you've got a residency at a really plush restaurant. It's probably not the best place to do it. If you're doing kids' parties, not a great place to do it. But anything outside of that, like, you know, people want to see things that they've not seen before. And don't get me wrong, I love card magic, I love coin magic, I love all these things. But when you do something that's quite niche, you stand out. And I was flown to Jakarta, Indonesia, back in 2010 was Indonesia, because I did something different. And so in answer to your question, how often do I do it now? I'm still completely able to do it. And I think the last time I did it was probably... Actually, no, I know what it was actually. Sorry, right, Virgin cruise ship. I was on a Virgin cruise ship. Someone came up to me after my theatre show and asked me about, like, is magic, is it all an illusion? Is it all psychological manipulation? Because obviously my show's quite mentalism heavy. And I said, no, there are some things that are 100% real. And we were right near the cafeteria, which always happens on cruise ships. When you're having lunch, you kind of meet up with your audience from the night before. And I got a spoon, and I said, like, as an example, and I just shoved this spoon straight in my head. Now, obviously, it was a very quick demonstration of the human blockhead, but that's what I'm saying. What you're watching me do there is very much a full-on performance, like the multiple nails, glasses, and all that. And as an effect like that, it is a reputation maker. It is something that stands the test of time, and will get you noticed. However, you know, it is possible as well to do it as a quick effect. And so a moment of, like, bizarre, where they go, you almost jolt them out of normality for a moment. Do you know what I mean? And you can I've seen people do it in a very comedic way, like before, like me saying to you about sort of presenting it as, oh no, this isn't real. It looks really unbelievably convincing, right? But it's just an optical illusion. And they're looking, going, that is incredible, that looks so real. And then you pull it out and leave it with them, and they're kind of going, I don't think that was a trick, was it? I don't think it was. So it's a really nice twist. There's loads of ways of presenting something that is real. And there's also something really nice about performing something where you say, no, that's actually real. Yeah. And I've used that line extensively when I've done interviews, and people say, is it all trickery? And I go, no, some of it is absolutely real. Now, I never specify exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I'm talking about blockhead. That's real. But it's lovely to kind of have that ambiguity and saying, you know, like, some of the stuff I do is 100% real. Because people go, wow, it's like that mystery, you know. So yeah, I still perform it. I mean, it's not like a feature in my act, because I'm known as, you know, if I'm Magician X, I'm Magician X. If I'm performing as Mark Spellman, I'm Mark Spellman that was on Britain's Got Talent. So it's kind of very much magic with a message and that kind of thing, as opposed to, you know, back in the day, I did a lot of shock stuff. You know, I was smashing stabs and staple gun roulettes and that kind of thing.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned to me just now, actually, before we went on air, that you did it in Jakarta because they said to you, can you do some mind reading? You went, oh, the language barrier, you know, you can't speak Indonesian. So in that sort of case, what do you do?
Well, that's what they said. Yeah, thanks. So basically, with the Indonesia performance, they wanted me to do mind reading, and I said the language barrier is because it's so wordy. Mentalism can be very wordy, and I said, but I can do something else. And they said, what else can you do? And I did a little bit of metal bending, and then I just went, and also I can do this, and like hammered the nails in my face. Sent them this video, and they were like, yeah. Can you come and do that? Because that will get people going, what the hell's going on? So it's a really, it's a powerful piece. But again, you can play it light or dark. I used to play it full length as a demonstration of, shamanistic stunts. Sometimes I used to do it where I used to sort of deep breathe. There was times when I did it and I used to do a pulse stop before I would perform it. So it's like I'm almost like sort of meditation to get into a place, and then I would do this demonstration. There were times when I did it as though it was an optical illusion, tongue and cheek. So there's loads of different ways of performing it, and so there's lots of different ways of performing it, and I still do it, but it's not part of my main act anymore. But
there's actually a very good occasion coming up when you could be doing it.
Oh, I still do it at Halloween. I know what you're talking about, Halloween. I still do it at Halloween. I'm a big Halloween fan, so we get crowds of people outside the house because we go all out for Halloween.
If you watch his Facebook,
but then I get booked. I get booked for Halloween gigs. Can you do something a bit darker, a bit more? And I just 100% Blockhead comes out. 100%. So it's another really good time to do it. Is obviously Halloween.
Perfect. I just want to say there was a couple of people saying they can't find it on the site, so you should be able to see this big banner on the front page. If you can't refresh your page, it should be there, but if you can't find it, you scroll down a little bit to latest arrivals, you'll find it right there.
Lovely.
All right. And you can download that and start learning it today. Rob, I saw your message about the download button. I will check that out as soon as we come off air, and that will be sorted. But yeah, it's I don't really know
what you're doing.
No, what this?
He doesn't know where he is. It's a Sunday. He's normally watching Songs of Praise at this time with the Holics.
Surgeon's question to that.
Have I had
ENT?
Any surgeon?
No. So I did actually perform this for a doctor on a train going up to Edinburgh, and they had a corporate event on the train, and I was with a number of other amazing magicians. Chris Harding, who used to be a part of the Alakazam team, Etienne Pradier, obviously a phenomenal magician, and I was doing Blockhead on this corporate event on this train going up to Edinburgh, and one of the people on there was a doctor or a nurse. But she watched me do it and she said, I would advise that you don't do that, but my goodness, that's incredible, the amount that you can get into your head. So, yeah.
And I will say as well, when I performed it, and most other people, you're the only person I've seen do it with multiple nails. I only used to do it with one.
Yeah.
So
and
Scott,
with one, it's strong enough.
So there's a question on the screen. Scott, Mark, what made you want to share this effect? The effect obviously is not mine, it's Melvin Burkhart's, but Melvin passed away in 2001, lived a long life considering some of the crazy things he did, but it's something that's really served me well, and I get so many PMs about this. One of the most common questions I get asked on Instagram and things like that is when people have seen me. I think on my YouTube I've got like some of the video performances like way down, and some people have stumbled across it. Some people know me for having done this in the magic industry for, I've done it at conventions and that kind of thing, and I've never really gone into it because it's such a, it's not a 10-minute conversation. Oh yeah, grab some nails and do this. It needs to be done with care. So it's just a way of going, listen, it's historical and educational purposes that this is being released, but it is, to my knowledge, the most concise instructional on what this is, how to do it, when to do it, etc. And for me, it just answers all the questions I've been asked over the years. I mean, I've been doing it 25 years, over 25 years. So it answers all the questions that I've ever been asked and shows you how to do it as safely as possible, even though I do suggest that you don't do this effect. But I know some of you will. And if you do, I hope this helps you do it properly and safely.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, that's sort of bringing us to almost the end of this Alakazam live launch. We have got another live launch coming up in a couple of weeks' time. But I think, there is another question coming in, which we'll get to in a minute before we wrap up. And I think you have sort of covered it. Right. Okay, Lee Alex and a few people have asked this. Have you got any nails on you?
Yes.
Can you do it?
Do it.
Yeah, is there a spoon here? I've got no spoon.
have a
Colin,
look
can you
at
go and
the
grab a
box
spoon?
thing. Right, ladies and gentlemen, rather than watching the trailer,
Hang on. Hang on a minute. Sorry, guys.
that's all right. You do what you want to do. So, guys, and while Mark's setting himself up to do this,
I just want to quickly point something out, Pete. If you could get me on the camera. I talk about hygiene a lot on the download, about how to do it, because we're post-COVID, so people are a lot more. You'll see on the performances, I've got people just handling nails and coming up to my face and that kind of thing. We live in a slightly different world now, so I would suggest that, and towards the end of my heavily performing this in my corporate events, I actually really love the dynamic of getting someone to put latex gloves on and then going through this whole procedure of getting cotton swabs and you know, wiping the nails and, you know, that kind of thing. So are you ready for this? Yes.
well, we'll wait for Colin to come.
Well, I was gonna.
What are you doing?
Looking for different spoons, but these are the only two I could find.
No, that's fine. That'll do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so that's about a 4-inch nail, and it goes. And you can see how, like, with the spoon, it's not tentative. It really goes inside the face, like this. As I say, I would like swab these. No one's handled these. They've just come out of the packet. And then we'll do another one there, like this. Get that right inside there as well.
And we'll most probably stop there, shall we? Because I'm not even sure what the Facebook guidelines are on stuff.
Oh yeah, we could have just been completely banned.
Yeah.
Now, so so that's it. That is the human blockhead. That's with 2 nails.
And even if you're just going to wear that as a piece of jewellery, that looks quite nice.
Before we get banned.
Lovely. Well, listen, honestly, if there's any questions, and I appreciate something like this, there might be a lot of questions where people ask questions. But if there are any questions or anything that I can do to help, then shoot the emails or messages over to Peter or the team at Alakazam. They can forward it on to me. And if you collate a load of them, and then I'll do a block reply, and then, you know, obviously answer all the questions. Block. See what I did there? Block reply.
The thing is, it's an incredible thing to watch, but it's incredibly easy to do. That's
totally. All it is, it's getting used to it. You've just got to get used to it. So like now, I could genuinely sit here and have a 3-course meal. Yeah. Actually, can we get some prawns in, maybe?
Do you know what? I think the hardest thing for me when I was learning it is getting over that that feeling of you want to sneeze. Because
I talk about that on the download the very first time you test, and just to let you know, I go into detail about how to test, what nails to use, the length of your cavity, how to test it, and stories of me performing this at a hen do at Soho House in the late 1990s with a nail that went right inside my head, and I was like, it looked like I was picking my nose for an audience of people. So
right, so guys, I believe that has brought us right up to the end of this live launch. So I want to thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you to everyone that's picked it up. For me, I think this is a very important instructional video on this subject, because there isn't anything else. So even for historical purposes, even for knowledge of knowing how it works, and if you were deciding to go out and perform it, you're not going to get a better insight into how and why the trick works and how to do it as safely as possible. But it's one of those things that anyone that's ever performed it will tell you there's nothing that will match it. for reaction.
Oh, it's real.
Like,
and also as well, just to point out a couple of things, like even when you swallow needles or you do the bean from the eye, or they've got the tic tac from the eye and that kind of thing, a lot of these things border on good taste, and that's what I mean about when not to do it. David Blaine, obviously, I love David to bits. He's phenomenal. But some of the things he'll do, like eating glass. I mean, he's there with Jeff Bezos, Amazon founder, and he's doing a card trick, and then halfway through he gets a glass and takes a bite out of a glass, as only David Blaine could. Yeah. But sometimes these things are really quite powerful to kind of shock people. And even when you're doing things like, like the tic tac from the eye, or Hindu needles and things like that, anything has got an element of danger. Like sharp objects in your mouth, the razor blades, this, that, and the other. So of course there is an element of danger with doing something like this, but I
think there's less danger in this than there are in a lot of the other ones. I feel much happier doing blockhead than I do a lot of the bean.
I prefer doing blockhead than a double lift, because I got a nasty paper cut the other day. I was honestly really stung. So anyway, I hope you guys, if you do decide to download it, watch it, purchase it, then thank you so much for your support. Appreciate the fact that it's obviously not for everyone, but there's a lot of information on there, and you get to see me doing it for audiences around the world. So thank you so much for joining this live. Really appreciate it. And aren't you glad that we did this after dinner? Most people have finished dinner now, apart from our American friends. Sorry.
Yeah. This is right at their lunchtime.
Lunchtime. Sorry, guys. Really appreciate. Sorry. Already bad. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I need to go to A&E now, basically.
Brilliant. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this Alakazam live launch. Blockhead is something that is a passion of Mark's. I mean, I performed it, Colin used to perform it, and the reactions are insane. But for years, Mark has been saying that if he was going to bring something out on Blockhead, he would have to make sure that it covered everything, and I'm glad to say this really, really does. It's the most in-depth tutorial and discussion on this fabulous sideshow effect, or geek effect as they used to call it, that you're ever going to find anywhere. So if you're purchasing it for historical purposes, you're purchasing it just because you want to learn the real secrets of the effect, or you're purchasing it to try and do it. Oh, they're coming for Mark. I've called the ambulance. So whatever it is, I'm sure you're really going to enjoy it. Now, it's an instant download. You can start watching it right now and get the insights into this fabulous effect. And if you do decide to do it, you've got Halloween coming up, so there's never been a more perfect time. But we will be back in a few weeks' time with a brand new live launch. You don't want to miss that. And we have got a hell of a lot of great products coming out between now and Christmas. The final quarter for Alakazam is going to be insane, so we can't wait to share all these with you. But thank you very much for spending a bit of your Sunday evening with us. And once again, thank you to Colin Klaus and the amazing Mark Spellman. And there is a lot more coming from both Mark and Alakazam in the coming months. And there's some great stage pieces coming out, which we can't wait to share with you. So anyway, I believe I'm back on Tuesday for the Alakazam Live. And remember, if you are an unlimited member, go and check out the brand new course. I believe episode 1 has just launched, and that is Colin Klaus on the Rubik's Cube. So, we'll leave them with the trailer once more. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Hi, my name is Mark Spellman. Long before my performances on Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent, in actual fact over 10 years prior to those performances, I was invited to appear on national and international television with one very special demonstration. This one effect has literally taken me around the world, and that one effect is this. Can you describe what is in that glass?
There are some long nails.
Have a look at these. Obviously, by the nature of what I do, people are very suspicious of me. Check them out, make sure they're real. Pretty good?
They're real.
Nice,
I've done this before.
Yeah. Check it out. You'll see that it's a nail, yes? What I want you to do is take a look at that one for me. Go down there and get the nails examined for me, if you would, please. Three nails in your hands, yes?
Yeah.
You're happy that those nails are real?
Yeah, they look like pretty, yeah.
Check them out, make sure they're real.
Yes.
A nail.
I was watching it. Okay,
Yeah.
a nail?
Right. All right.
You're not going to stick it through anything, are
No,
you?
not through you.
All right. Oh, no,
Not through you.
you're going to do something.
I want you to take any one of the three nails out of the glass for me. Hand me any one of those nails. Watch, here's the idea. Look, they really are solid though, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's get it. It's a bit weird. All right, here we go.
Stop!
See, it goes inside the face, all right? Hand me the other one, hand me the other one. All right?
Dirty.
So it goes inside the face. Last one, Huey. That was going in one side there, look.
What are you doing?
Don't worry,
You complete freak!
Whoa. All right, now I'll be really honest with you. This is the one that hurts. You're gonna feel this inside my head. You're gonna hold the clean end. You're gonna feel this. Hold still. You're holding the camera. Hold your hand out like this.
You are kidding me. No, you're kidding me. I'm not going to touch it.
You're gonna feel this, right? You hold the clean end though. Okay. Good man. Just to feel that inside my head. You can feel that, yes?
That's pretty in there.
Hold still. Clean side, but watch. Just feel it. Yeah, you got it?
You're...
Hold on to it. Feel it. Oh, feels good. Right, you ready? Now you're actually going to feel this inside my head. If I shake it like that, you can feel that inside my head, yes?
Oh,
you can feel
God,
that in there,
yeah, that's in there, man. Damn.
Ready? Feel it. I cannot. Feel that inside my head, yes? Hold still.
Oh, jeez, dude.
You're disgusting.
There can be no doubt the human blockhead created by Melvin Burkhart is one of the most shocking demonstrations you can perform, but equally one of the most dangerous. Despite the obvious dangerous aspects of performing the human blockhead, there is very little instruction or literature to date that explains how to perform it safely, when to perform it, and more importantly, when not to perform it. This download will explain in minute detail every single element about performing the human blockhead. I know the where, the why, and the when about performing the human blockhead. And on this download, I will share everything with you. Welcome to Block.
That's not magic, that's madness.